not black or white. It's not black or white with Tim Stevenson and Diane Blakely.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of It's Not Black or White. We are your host, Tim Stevenson.
And Diane Blakely.
And today we have a special guest. I'm going to let him do all the talking. And I'm just kidding. But we're going to get into some great conversation. It is Mr. Taylor Shupe. Did I say that right?
That's right.
Sweet. So we have tons of questions for you. You want to start off?
Oh, he always lets me start because
Yeah.
I have to use up all my words. More words. Well, so I know we talked a little bit before we started the podcast, but I was hoping you could kind of give us some background on you professionally, right? And what led you to some of the things like second chances and just an overview of kind of like conceptually what you see yourself doing now that you're not doing as much corporate. I know you have your company, FutureStitch. So I don't know how you want to dovetail that. Maybe talk a little bit about your business and then what you see incorporating some of the social stuff that happens. Because our podcast is a lot about like what people are doing to help other people out. And
Exactly.
and I'm gonna stop there because I could go on longer, but I'm gonna let you take hold of this, and start the conversation off and let us know a little bit about you and what you see your purpose of. Your honor.
Okay. Love that. Thank you. It's a big question. I am an entrepreneur. I started selling stuff in high school. I loved it.
Oh wow!
Going door to door. It's part of the Olympia Sales Club.
Okay.
Probably never heard of it.
No, what is that?
You like have a catalog full of knickknacks and desserts and whatnot, and you go door to door and sell them, and then you could exchange these points for prizes.
Oh.
And
I do remember that.
Yeah.
I do remember. I do. Yes.
Yeah, it was a big thing. I think like in the 80s, and then
Okay.
I was the only kid I think in my neighborhood that became an Olympian.
Was this here in Orange County?
Yeah, this was off Ortega.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just loved doing sales. I thought it was really fun. I like meeting new people. And from there, I started investing money that I would get from various like holidays, birthdays, and I would buy things that then would allow me to sell other things. So like snow cone makers and rock tumblers and all the stuff.
So you have a side hustle all the time.
Always. And then I figured out at like 15 the value of mistletoe. And I started selling mistletoe every Christmas and making some bank. Yes, making some money.
Oh,
And so I was just like in love with the transaction and meeting people through it. I feel
Who
like
were you selling that to mostly?
Every person in the neighborhood. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Who mostly wanted it? The men or the women?
Yeah, it was mostly the women.
Really?
Yeah. And they would always tip. And anyway, I got my favorite job of all time, which was a flower delivery driver.
Okay.
I worked for Panage here, and I learned how to design flowers. And
did you really?
Arranging flowers, and I just fell in love with it. And
well, you're not good. You're going to have to take a look at all my flower stuff that I do.
I won't say I'm very good at arranging, but I do every Mother's Day, wife's birthday, and whatnot. I go to the flower market, or I buy a bunch of bulk flowers, and arrange them. And then so I just had these little side hustles where I'd buy flowers, and then I'd resell them, and I'd arrange them, and then ended up. I actually grew up Mormon.
Okay.
And I went on a mission to Taiwan, which is the place I wanted to go because I wanted to learn Mandarin.
Oh.
And so I hacked it a little bit.
Can you speak it fluently?
I can, yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's impressive.
And all of that. And fell in love with the people, the culture. Came back, and then I started my first business, which was a business called ISIS, like the terrorist organization. And then
wait, that one.
No, because it wasn't. The terrorist organization wasn't
around yet.
Yeah. I owned the trademarks for a long time. I think they probably just expired, but I built this brand. It was merging art and science, working with surfers and skateboarders and different artists to do like cool laptop cases and bags. This is before Steve Jobs came back to Apple.
Okay.
And then when he did come back, the MacBook became a popular accessory and obviously popular piece of equipment that students would take to classes. And so I wanted to design like the coolest cases. And I bought a car back east. I didn't have much money.
How are you funding this? You're just rotating your money?
So, truth be told, I was involved with some illicit activities, both in high school and I wasn't the best Mormon. I wasn't the best. I was bringing jeans in, and I was doing jean parties to religion.
Really?
So
how fun.
All of that. And I was honest about what they were, but, I was selling just a ton of denim at these parties that we would throw. I was going to hold a sorority.
PB in San Diego, they'd have jean parties.
Mm-hmm. It became a thing.
Yeah, I was like, oh, someone invited me one. And it's like,
Yeah.
this is a jean party. And I was like, what's that? Like a real
Two
jean.
for $200. You get the third one for free.
Oh, God.
I'm still singing them.
Deals. God deals, right?
Anyway, so I had some extra cash, and then I had goods seized, and my dad found out about it, and I had like a massive lecture, and I was looking for money for my next thing, and he wouldn't loan it to me. The only thing I had was a car, and I realized I was living in Utah.
How old were you at this time?
I was 22.
And he didn't want to lend you the money. He's like, no, I want you to earn it. I want you to like roll your sleeves up and figure it out.
Yeah.
Do you think that was helpful? Apparently,
Oh, totally.
It made you who you are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll go through sort of the history of raising money because we certainly raised a lot of money later on. But where I'm at in my current career is I'm pretty averse to taking any money from anyone if I can. But anyway, at the time, I needed some startup capital. I had this Audi A6 that I had purchased with cash. I realized that there was a secondary market between the East Coast and the West Coast and Utah. So wherever there was a market where there was no snow, if you were to bring those vehicles into Utah and sell them, that those titles would warrant a higher valuation because, you know, snow, the salt
Right.
on the roads and everything would erode the vehicles. So I started, so I sold my car. I bought a bunch of products from China that I had designed, these laptop cases. And then I found like a very inexpensive car. He's basically half the capital from the A6 to purchase my first batch. And then I had, the other half to then buy a Corolla back east, and I resold it in Utah. And it paid for my trip. And so I did this several times where I'd buy a car and then I resell it. And it would, there would always be $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 additional capital that would pay for my Motel 6s.
Wow.
And then I would sell. And I realized really quickly that, I could build a brand and get really good market penetration. And we were in almost every, like, I would say tier 1 or tier 2 Scholastic account out there. And those universities have like a captive audience.
And you're still 22 years old at this point.
I'm 23 maybe at this point. Yeah.
Gosh, I want to be on Survivor Island with this guy.
Right?
You'll figure out how to make something.
Great. And flip it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not very useful otherwise.
Awesome,
people to trade with, maybe. But anyway, so then I started doing that, and I realized, like, my first trip, I netted 25,000 in sales, and then being 50, and then I sort of built this brand. And then, so I learned about brand management. I learned about white space, and I learned about consumer acquisition and performance marketing and those sort of things that became valuable to me later on.
Your dad must be very proud of you because that's really, really hard to do.
My dad's an attorney. He wanted me to go into law. I don't know how proud he is.
Oh, wow.
He is. Yeah, I'm sure he is now.
You would be really good at that, though, too, because you would be able to maneuver. Your brain works like that.
Thank you.
You know how to pivot quickly.
Almost went that route.
I think a lot of really good entrepreneurs know how to pivot. Like the one quality that makes them different from others is they know how to pivot quickly when they see something. And when they see something that they think is marketable, they can turn on a dime. And then they're like, how do I get
I think that's very fair. I think the other side of that coin is that we're distracted by the shiny object. And we're pivoting too much,
Yeah, that makes sense.
But there is a lot of grit, persistence that comes with entrepreneurship. At least the more successful entrepreneurs tend to have some staying power and some focus. Got into Circuit City. That was my big one. And then Circuit City was, remember that?
Yeah. My sister worked at Circuit City.
Oh, no way?
Yeah.
That's dope.
She was a numbers girl, so she was like, she'd always remember all the employee numbers, but she was high up there for a while.
Yeah.
It's like
is Circuit City still around?
Yeah. Oh,
it's gone, right? It's gone. Who bought them? Did someone buy them or did they buy them?
Bankrupt.
Because they were the reason why I transitioned was they stopped paying in, I think, 2008.
Oh, so you're like, bye. I got to pivot.
And then, I ended up paying back all of my angel investors, which was really gratifying for me. I changed my business model. I set up a trading company in China, and because I spoke Chinese, I was able to get certain licenses and whatnot that allowed me to be able to get a VAT in return. Like when you go to Europe and you buy something and they charge you VAT, you go out of the country, they pay it back.
Value added tax.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. Mm-hmm. So I found some arbitrage there, and I started helping other companies. And during that time, I met up with who became my co-founder of Stance. And we worked together on this matrix of, I won't bore you with all these. This is
Jeff?
I get into the minutiae. Yes,
Jeff
Kroll.
Jeff Kroll.
Yeah. And Jeff Kroll and I worked together when he was at Skull Candy. He was the chairman of the board.
Okay.
My company did a collaboration with Skull Candy.
Okay.
And I knew the founder of Skull Candy really well. So we knew each other for a long time. Plus we had the same entrepreneurship teacher 11 years apart at BYU.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I love Jeff. He's still one of my best friends.
Okay.
And anyway, it's
He's
sharp as
a
tack.
venture capitalist.
He's a venture
right?
capitalist,
Yeah.
right? So he was really instrumental in educating me and everyone in the company around, finance and fundraising, growing the business. He's probably, I think he's probably the best, salesman I know.
Really?
He's phenomenal.
That's great.
I don't know about directing a business.
Uh-oh.
Fundraising,
Right.
fundraising, and so I said, anyway, so decided to stance thing, but it was very methodical. I took what I learned from ISIS and what he learned from Skull Candy, and we created a matrix on what we felt like the most important variables were to create an environment for success. We ended up on socks, and I think everybody thought we were at the end of our rope. And we got really fortunate, but we also had a really talented founding team. There were 5 of us, and everybody was hyper specialized. And I believe in partnerships. I think partnerships are really important. I love generalism, don't get me wrong, and I think all entrepreneurs should try to be as generalistic as they can. But having a certain level of specialization is really important for getting traction and scale.
Right.
Not just like sort of.
Because everybody, like I always tell Tim, you don't have to be the smartest person about everything, but you have to be smart enough to find the people that are smart enough about their specialty.
Yeah, I think generalism. I think that is probably a more superior sort of way of living in general. The whole phrase where it's like master. What is it?
Master of all trades.
Well, they call it jack of all trades.
But do you know there's the second part to that?
No, what is it?
It's that the jack of all trades is often better than the master of one. And so they leave that part out because they want to focus.
Which is funny because
there you go, Moab.
the name of my company is called Moab.
Yeah.
Stands for Master of All Trades and the Jack of None.
Yeah.
Because I was always the guy who did a bunch of stuff but actually got it done.
Yeah.
So I flipped it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Jim's a super hard worker. He's probably he and my husband are very similar in their personalities, like super hard workers to go, and not stopping till they get to where they need to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's no surprise his company's name.
Yeah.
He's the one that called
96.
at midnight.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Midnight, 1 a.m. He's still up like I am because neither of us sleep.
And then hyper at class because I only slept 4.5 hours and then I'm like ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like teaching a class after he's been on the phone with me all night long. I just have to drag myself in. I don't have to make anything and teach it to anybody. I just show up. But you guys are smaller.
I'd love to talk about that at some point.
Yeah.
More, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well,
tell us about. So you and I had a brief conversation too about how you utilize people who've had a past, who've had not the greatest path, but they're useful and they're doing great things.
Yeah.
So tell me about like how you found some of these ones, or did they find you?
Yeah.
Or maybe what the impetus was for that,
right. The Genesis story.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to a place, a stance where I felt like we were afraid to make a stance towards anything. Mm-hmm. And we'd raised a bunch of money, about $130 or $140 million. We'd grown it to a very sizable valuation, probably the highest in that category in the world. And we wanted to be everything for everyone. And that's just not me. Mm-hmm. And we got to a place where we could have sold it for a lot of money. And the board decided that that wasn't the right decision at the time. So they vetoed it. And I felt like at that point, it was time for me to leave. So I sold a bunch of stock on the secondary market. I wanted to go upstream into manufacturing where I could make a bigger social impact. Mm-hmm. I studied the life of Henry Ford, who's an idol of mine. And
I came from the automotive industry.
Yeah, he made a huge impact to his work, not just to the industry as an engineer, but socially, right? Instituting the 40-hour work week when everybody's working 60 hours a week. The pay increased 300% over, I think it was 10 years. Basically, he saw his employees as a consumer, and he employed a lot of people because manufacturing requires a lot of hands. And I was never inspired by tech. I wanted to be able to work with people, and I felt like I could build a culture similar to how we did it at Stance in a way that was much more positive, and that would allow me to have peace of mind, which is what I'm always searching for in life, peace and clarity, be able to sit in my own thoughts and be happy, And there was a moment years ago where in China, when I had started Stance, where I was arrested and I was put into a Chinese jail. I don't think I told anybody.
I was like, what was that like?
Yeah. So I wasn't there that long.
Okay.
I was only there for about 12 hours.
Oh.
But
12 hours too long.
yeah, no, it was terrifying. My wife was pregnant. She doesn't speak Chinese. She was at the apartment we had. And I just like came to this, like, you know, I realized that was my biggest fear, being incarcerated.
Yeah, without representation, right? Because in China, you don't get U.S. representation. Like people think you go to other countries and you do. China's like the last place you want to go when you need U.S. representation.
Right.
They don't like us.
And I'm a person that's wired for autonomy. That's why I practice entrepreneurship. I want to be able to make my own decisions all the time. And that's why sort of my career has taken me this route around self-funding and not needing to say yes or no to anyone besides my consumer. And so, yeah, I just actualized my biggest fear. I ended up being able to buy my way out.
I was going to ask you, how did you get out?
I was at
really
$12.
That was it?
$12.
Really?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Not 1,200, just
$12.
I can't more in Mexico to bribe a better alley.
Oh yeah, totally. Way more.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wow. $12? Did you know that when they first incarcerated? You'd be like, I've been waiting here for 12 hours. He charged me $1 an hour that I've been here.
They were going to hold me for 3 days minimum because the judge was out and was out of town. Or maybe it was a Friday and he was going to be back on Monday. Yeah. But anyway, I got out. And
you obviously never wanted to repeat whatever it was that landed. Do you know what landed you there?
Yeah, it was fun.
Okay.
I know. Landed. I was attacked. Long story, but I defended myself adequately, probably too much. And in China, it's not about, first sort of throw. It's more about who's hurt the worst. They're the ones that deserve compensation. The other person is the perpetrator. And so it's not a trust-based system there.
Right.
And everything's evidence-based and everything. It just falls into a very different, I think, logical thought process. Anyway, so that was one moment. And then when I sold my first business, so the ISIS became this trading co, as I mentioned. I sold it while I was at Stance, and that allowed me to do certain things financially, pay off my house, do certain things, which I always wanted to do for my own autonomy.
Yeah, to feel safe.
Yeah, just give myself some freedom. And I don't know if listen, I actually believe in constraints more than ever, but at the time I just wanted like limitless freedom. So anyway, my wife and I were watching Dateline NBC, I think. And
I always call that Deathline.
Deathline.
Somebody dies.
Do you listen to it at night?
I do.
Oh, she listens to it in her ear.
Really?
While she sleeps.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what that's
really.
I go to sleep to TV. Some people go to sleep to TV. I'm one of them. So I watch Dateline, 48 Hours.
Yeah.
Like really bad.
Yeah.
Jimmy Kimmel sometimes too.
Yeah.
But I mean, my husband, he actually wears earbuds and a mask, so he doesn't hear all the noise that I'm making by watching TV. So yeah, it looks very funny if you come in at night. They're like, "What's up with the dude with the mask?" But it's
on an Oculus. He might be like in Paris.
Or he might be her hostage.
Yeah.
That's how much she's
write me a novel. Chain him to a bed.
Totally. So then I started developing a model of manufacturing. So basically, when that happened, I was still at Stance. Okay. And then I developed this sort of model of manufacturing where there's this intersection between most high quality product I could possibly make with the most premium brands I could possibly work with, where there's a sustainability component, which is less about I'm going to save the planet, more about leveraging waste as a feedstock and creating new value out of waste, which fed into the social cause, where people who might be discarded by society, not given that an opportunity for a second go, could get that opportunity. And so I started working at the time with actually I was working with Kanye for a while, for about 3 years. And we developed, because his ex-wife was part of the Innocence Project. So they connected me with them, and I started working with them. And then just on the board and as a donor. And then we set out to do this in Wyoming.
Really?
And then,
why Wyoming?
That's where he bought 1,000 acres. That's where he wanted to live. And he just created a new product that was highly capital intensive, not very labor intensive, so very like a U.S. manufacturing candidate. And so we were I was engineering the factory out there.
Okay.
In parallel to FutureStitch.
The factor. Oh, okay. I was
So
gonna say.
I'd already built FutureStitch.
Okay.
And FutureStitch was sort of a milestone in manufacturing because it was all geo-powered and high sustainability rating in the world, and it had a social cause there for the Chinese, which was more of a sort of unlocking creativity type of system that we developed for them, more about injecting individuality into an authoritarian type of environment. So there's always a social.
Very interesting.
That one has a whole. I could go down a major rabbit hole there. I don't know. Yeah, well, maybe we don't even touch that one. But then, yeah, I came back here. That project fell through. We had a falling out. It's always been back and forth with him. And then I decided to do Oceanside, and so I was like, I'm gonna do this on my own. And I linked up with some great charities that I knew because it's not like it's hard to find individuals that have been incarcerated, justice impacted people. They're typically working 2 jobs, or if they're unemployed and they're on the streets, and they're not typically, depending on how long they've been locked up, very digitally savvy. And so we figured out how to use like a network charities to give us recommendations.
I was wondering how you did that. I was like, did he go into the jails and say, look, I want to?
I did that too.
Okay.
I tried everything.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And our source pool is so small that initially it was pretty challenging to find the right people. We wanted to find people who actually really desired to have that second chance. Yeah. And yeah, it was really gratifying. And the thing I share as an entrepreneur, because I want to inspire other business people to maybe take this chance, is that you're never going to have a more retentive workforce. Like when you give somebody that second chance, they show up grateful and they're stoked to be there. You'll get higher productivity. You can manage more shifts because they just want to work. So you have people that are willing to pick up nights, willing to pick up, weekends.
Wow.
And so it was an unlock for me commercially. And I think that if we can sort of reassociate capitalism, sprinkle a little bit of the collective on it, I think that there is like a lot of value to be unlocked. I think the problem with tech, it's this potentiated, this flywheel where you get massive valuations. Very few people are able to create tremendous amount of wealth. Yeah. And the returns are really
like 3
quick
people
and immediate.
Having most of it.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
And they all come from that same area, so 100 years ago, to get to $1 billion, you would probably need to have 1 million employees. Today you can have no employees and achieve $1 billion valuation. And so
it makes me sad a little bit.
It's a flaw in the capitalistic system, and it's also breeding really bad behavior at the top, which we see everywhere, right? Politically, and we'll get into all that. But
you're amongst friends.
Don't worry. Yeah.
We trust me. So podcasts that go all day long on that.
Yeah.
Because I think that the human experience matters. Like when we had the gentleman on about AI, I was really disturbed, primarily because I think there is an attempt to marginalize and make it so people have no purpose. Yeah. Eventually. And if you have a world where people don't have purpose, there'll always be people who love others and things like that. But if you take purpose, that's why when people retire often they die, because they don't see their purpose anymore. Yeah. So I'll never retire, ever. I will never be a person that does nothing. Yeah. Because I want to live to be. How many summers do I have left, Tim?
I got at least 45.
I have 45 summers left.
45 summers, I'll be 100.
Yeah. I'm a little bit older than Tim, so I got 40 maybe.
I'm aging backwards, so I'm good.
A buddy of mine wants to live 1 million hours, and he measures everything. Rob Deerdeck? Yeah. He measures everything. And
really?
Yeah, he's launching an app soon where there's a connection between your calendar and then your sort of satisfaction, and then gives you recommendations on sort of how to balance your life, change things. Okay. He's
interesting, actually.
One of the most happy, but also productive and efficient people I know.
Yeah,
everything's metric. Yeah. And I don't know. I don't live that. I don't necessarily fully live that way. I think it is somewhat subjective.
Yeah.
I like to be able to my thing's my time. Like I just want to be able to sit in peace and not have chaos.
That's me.
Yeah.
I'm very much like that.
I need the calm app.
She's always telling me, she's like, you're so calm all the time. I said, yes. That's why I'm looking backwards. Because I try to filter out all the noise. So that's why I told her I was like, I don't want to hear about certain things in the morning.
Yeah. But
I want to like have my peace at first and do all that and meditate and do all that, what I need to do before I go out into the crazy world that we live in now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's enough noise.
Tim
Right.
has the
Yeah.
best Timism that I absolutely love. Like when somebody's flipping out, he'll go, "You okay?
I'm like, all right.
Mhm.
Are you all right?"
Yeah.
And it's amazing to watch him do it because the person just
Course
takes.
reps.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, you
If
think
you
something
don't-
wrong?"
Because
Something
Yeah.
most people want you to match their energy, and when you don't,
Yeah.
they're
Right.
like, oh.
They throw down their sword.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do
Wise.
think what you're doing is really cool. I saw a little clip of a woman who was employed by FutureStitch by you, and she was talking about, it's public, so I imagine I'm okay to share it again.
Sure.
But she was talking about how she was doing pornography or like something like that in the hotels, and
The
and
only
she
time she's ever been on video was pornography.
Sure.
That's what she said to the guy.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly
Yes.
what you're talking about.
Yep. And I was just fascinated by it because of how she's like, I thought this, honestly, it kind of choked me up. I was all by myself and I called him. I'm like, I don't even know this person, but I felt kind of moved by it because I thought, how sad, that she thought that that was her only choice, But, and then it made me think that you're such an exceptional human being that you would care about another person's life. That I've had a lot of experiences where people cared about me. I mean, I lived with my real family. I lived in 2 foster homes and I was adopted twice. And and now I'm being called the rich privileged woman in a Taco Bell. But nobody ever really knows like what someone's background is. But it has shaped how I feel about other human beings. Like when people are unkind to each other or you know he knows how I feel about like racial profiling. It gets me all worked up. But there's a certain kind of profiling on people who, may have been incarcerated before. And giving them a second chance does not only change, I told him this, I said, it doesn't just change that person's life, but it changes consecutively. It has this chain of events for all these other people that come in contact with that person, whether they have children. Like
That's a big one.
Yeah.
my son is a product of a beautiful thing. My mother was the first single woman to adopt in Southern California, and she adopted me. And I was considered unadoptable because I was 10 by that point. I first was
Heartbreaking.
Yeah, and I was the first time I was adopted, I was 8, and then I was 10. And you become at one, you're not considered adoptable because they think that you've already experienced enough life that they can't mold you into the human that they want you to be, which I always tell people, you don't even know when you have your own kids what they're going to end up doing.
Mhm.
So to say that about somebody else that just simply got a bad deck of cards, right, is unfair. I remember Howard Stern was like, I was driving in LA and he said, I think adopting is a dangerous thing because you don't know what you're getting. I have never called into a radio show until that day. And I was so upset. I said, I pulled over on the side of the road. I was working for a talent agent at the time. I pulled over the side of the road and I called in and they let me talk. And so there's some clip of me saying, that is a very unfair thing that you just did to a bunch of children who need homes, who need to feel safe. My mom changed my life in that doing that. And I was adopted before. She wanted to adopt me when I was 5, but they would only let a couple adopt me. And the couple was trying to replace an 8-year-old with a miscarriage, and it didn't work out because I was already a human being, but that had lived a bit. But my mom came back when I went back into the system, and her caseworker said, "Hey, that little girl's back in the system." And she's like, "That's supposed to be my daughter." I mean, we have this really great, story. My mom's a writer, so she's going to write something about it later on. But I know what it feels like to be in a situation where people are like, "Oh, yeah, that person," like it, they don't do it now because I don't look like that. If you look a certain way, people think you're a certain way, but all the insides and stuff. So when I saw that clip of that woman that you helped, I was like so moved by that because I thought, here this person thought nobody's coming to help me, but you presented an opportunity to this person that I don't think a lot of people would do. I mean, it's a big deal. And I'm so worried that the world is going to stop looking at humans like that. I mean, there's good and bad people everywhere, and I'm aware of that. I don't have that Pollyanna thing where I'm like, everybody's good, rainbows and unicorns. But I do think that there is an attempt to marginalize people in general, whether it be for work or, make certain assumptions about ways that people are based on certain things that happened in their past. Everyone has a multitude. They're like diamonds. They have multitudes of different things that run them, that make them do the things that they do. So I'll stop because I'm feeling like I should have a pulpit right now and a microphone.
Oh, that's all good stuff. That's all great stuff.
But it's a big deal to me. And I think what you're doing is so important. And I want to give you an opportunity because I'm curious what you plan on doing in addition, because I know you're not stopping there. I mean, do you mind if I ask, like, how many people you employ that are incarcerated? Like, I'm curious.
32.
Wow.
Really? That's great.
It's just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
Did you find them all through the charities or?
Basically.
Wow.
And friends of them, friends of friends, sober living houses where other employees work.
So do you think the incarceration organizations, the jails and stuff, are they actively trying to help people like rehabilitate to the point where they could take a job like that? Or are they just worried about like serve your time and then out?
The latter.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So
I would say that too, because I'm in the juvenile halls. Even on that level, some of them are just going through the system. They have programs, like I go in there and teach dance to kids like once a week at juvenile hall, or I go into foster care or Orangewood Academy or Waymaker or places like that. But the ones that are actually incarcerated, sometimes there's programs that do help if you have the right teacher that happens to be inside that facility. The other ones, they're just like, you just go through. They don't really correct anything in a correctional facility.
I think it's highly subjective.
Yeah.
I think there are people that have hearts that are in there.
I think so too.
And I think they can make a huge impact. I think that the system itself is not designed for that.
Right.
And I think there's a lot. This is a big topic, but the criminal justice system is a very flawed system that's not impartial. Right. Statistically, it's
really bad.
And we're one of the only countries that doesn't sort of prevent, I think, racial and economics from sort of penetrating the justice system the way that it does here. There are a lot of cases where the systems are making, the system itself is making money off of labor. And I don't think that is necessarily ubiquitous, but it certainly isn't all the privatized prisons. The unemployment rate with my people is it's 40%, 80% recidivism for males by year 4. We're 5 years in, we're at 0. So now one person's come back.
That's so great.
And
out of 32 people, not one.
I had more. The hardest part is I had to do when we lost the stance business. We had to do a layoff, which was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. Yeah. And I'm seeking to bring that back, and we're building up new things, and I'm investing heavily into this new brand that we're launching now that I don't have any constraints. I don't have a non-compete anymore. And that's why I made that acquisition, the real estate. I've been, doing a lot of different things because I would like to have a workforce of several hundred.
Not black or white. It's not black or white with Tim Stevenson and Diane Blakely.